this video, I'm going to be teaching you about what you should not do with your money.
Now, living paycheck to paycheck isn't just a problem for those who don't have a high income. It's also a problem for those that do have a high salary. For example, a lot of people that make over 100 grand a year have this problem. And some of this stems from lifestyle inflation, which basically means as you earn more money or as you begin to earn more money, you start to spend more. So for example, say you're making $35,000 a year and you have a certain lifestyle you're living, you have a budget, et cetera, et cetera. Then you get some sort of raise, and that raise promotes you to, we'll say, $60,000 a year. Instead of living a similar lifestyle you were living when you were making $35,000, people start to take on more expenses. Maybe they start taking on more responsibilities. Basically, their cost of living increases. Now, as opposed to doing that, say they just continue to live a similar lifestyle when they were making $35,000, they would probably be a lot better off and in a much better financial situation. Now, the first thing I don't think you should ever do with your money is gamble. And this doesn't mean, say, you have a friend in town or you're on vacation, you want to go to a casino, you want to play cards. That's a little bit different if you can afford it and you fit it into your budget. That's completely fine. A lot of people do that, and that's nothing wrong with that at all. But it is a problem when you start blowing your entire checks at the casino. Say you get your check on Friday and you go up to one of your coworkers and say, "Johnny, we just got paid. I'm so excited. I'm going to the casino. I'm playing blackjack. You're never going to see me again. Early retirement. That's going to be it. Tonight is my night. I'm really feeling it." Now that's a problem, especially between the ages of 20 and 30. You double the risk of developing a gambling problem. And I think the main issue with gambling is it's one of those get-rich-quick schemes. And for example, if you told someone you could put your money in Apple stock, and you said if you put your money in Apple stock, you're guaranteed to double your money within 2 to 3 years. Or if you say to them, if you go all in on this hand of blackjack, you could double your money instantly. And people who aren't educated about investments in the market per se, which there's nothing wrong if you aren't, a lot of people aren't, they think, well, I don't want to wait that long. It's going to take forever. It's gambling anyway. I might as well just go play blackjack, even though it's not and there's more to it. Bottom line, there's much better places you can put your money than gambling at a casino or really sports betting or anything along those lines. So the second thing I want to talk about that I really don't think you should spend money on is a new expensive car. Now, people that are close to me are going to know my opinions on a new expensive car and why I personally will never buy one. But mainly, a car just depreciates so much in value. From the second you drive it off the lot, that thing's going to depreciate 10% right off the jump. So that $30,000 car you just bought is automatically worth $27,000 the second you sign the paperwork. After that, it's going to depreciate about 20% over that first year and then 10% each year following for 4 years. So 1 year after you buy that car, that $30,000 car that you just bought is worth about $21,000, just like that. I prefer to buy more assets and not liabilities. And for some of you that might be looking at this like, well, a car is an asset technically. Technically, you're right, but it's a depreciating asset. It's not something that's going to make you money. It's not like a house or like a stock that's going to appreciate and grow in value. A car is going to depreciate. You're not going to buy a new car and it's not going to go up in value unless you're trying to flip it, which is a whole different story. Like I just said, I look at assets as things that are going to make me money and liabilities as things that aren't going to make me money. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, I put a link in the description to a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a great book. It's going to change really the whole way you think, and I really recommend it. There's also a couple other books down there that I would recommend to people that want to get started investing, and check them out if you're interested. The third thing I want to talk about is not taking advantage of your company's 401k plan. So basically, a lot of companies will match a certain amount you put into your 401k. So for example, some companies will say, we will match your contribution up to 5% in your 401k. So to break this down a little bit more, let's say that you have $1,000 pre-tax income every other week. That's when you get paid. You decide to put 8% of this into your company's 401k, which comes out to about $80. Well, your company is going to match the first 5% of that, or $50 of your contributions. So if you put in at least 5%, they're going to put in 5%. Now you're putting in 8% right now, but let's say you put in 3% or $30, that company is only going to match that 3%. So it's very important to know what your company's match is on their 401k and to make sure you're at least putting in that contribution. I can understand why people would want to maybe open an IRA instead, because you get to pick your own investments if you don't like the investments that your company is putting your money into. But at the very least, it's worth taking the employer match on their 401k because it is free money. And I truly believe you're throwing money into a fire pit or the trash without taking advantage of this. The fourth thing I believe that you should never do with your money is not save any of it. And a lot of people say, well, I have a secure job. I want to live my life. I just don't want to worry about money. And to a certain point, I understand that, but I kind of feel for the large portion of the population, job security is mainly just a myth. I feel like anything can happen out of the blue. Companies can downsize, and unexpected layoffs happen all the time, especially when a massive recession hits or a virus hits and everyone just has to close. Granted, there are different situations where jobs are very safe, but for the most part, I don't feel like every job is 100% safe. Now, the more money you save, the more freedom this is going to give you. It might give you more opportunity to follow a passion, or if something happens at your job that you don't agree with, it's going to give you the freedom to leave. I see general rules of thumb, 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund is a general staple. I personally like to have a year because, for example, during a time like this, we don't know how long this unemployment is going to last. I mean, it did drop a significant amount, more than a lot of people expected over the past month, but you still don't know how long it's going to take you to find a job. There could be a lot more people out there that are a lot more qualified with you. It's a big guessing game. So I say better safe than sorry, especially if you have a really high income. I would say even over a year, maybe even 2 years, if you're making, say, $500,000 a year or something along those lines. Obviously, continue to invest in all of those good things. But I really don't see a problem with having an extensive emergency fund at all, mainly because you truly never know what the future holds. The fifth thing I don't think people should do with their money is make spontaneous purchases. I can't even tell you how many times when I was younger I would go on Amazon and I would buy something out of the blue and I would say, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait till it comes in. And one of two things would happen. The first thing that would happen is I would either use it a handful of times and it would just sit there and it would never, ever, ever get used again. Or I would never use it ever and it would just sit there forever. I would essentially take it out of the box, put it in my room, and it would just sit there and I would never use it ever. So big waste of money. I can see this as a really big downfall because it's so easy to just shop on Amazon and shop online these days. It's not like you have to book time out of your week to go to the store. You can order something on your lunch break or even first thing in the morning or when you're half awake at night, and then it'll be here within 24 to 48 hours. I read an article on CNBC that the average consumer actually spends $5,400 a year approximately on spontaneous purchases. That comes out to $450 a month. So it's a pretty good chunk of change. And to combat this, I like to use something called the tomorrow strategy. And basically, when you see something on Amazon or you see something on really any website that you want to buy, say to yourself, I'm going to wait 24 hours, I'm going to wait until tomorrow, and I really think, do I really need it? Am I really going to use it? And it sounds really simple, and you're probably watching this thinking, I mean, that's kind of dumb. I mean, is that really going to work? It's going to make a difference. I'm just going to buy it tomorrow anyway. But believe it or not, a lot of times, especially with myself, and I know this from firsthand experience, if you do that and you wait that day, you're going to say to yourself, well, I really don't need it. I really don't think I'm going to use it. And you're not going to buy it. And again, it just sounds so simple, but it really, truly does work. This is the last thing we're going to talk about, and the last thing I don't think you should do with your money. And that's making financial decisions, especially big financial decisions, based on what other people tell you. This includes friends, includes family members, the whole 9 yards. Now, this might be the hardest one to follow for a couple of reasons, because if you look at your significant other or your mom or your dad or one of your best friends, and you come to them for financial advice about where you should put your money or what you should buy or this and that, etc., you're gonna think that they're gonna tell you the right thing. And I truly believe that that person is telling you what they think the right thing to do is, but they might not know the entire situation that you're in. There could be a whole nother side of it that they just don't know about. It's not like this person's sabotaging you, because what are they going to gain from watching you crash and burn? There's really nothing they are going to gain. But at the same time, they just might not be as educated as they think, or maybe you haven't told them the entire story. Basically, you have to make decisions for yourself. So this includes opening up retirement accounts, investing in a stock, investing in real estate. You have to make a decision that you truly believe in. Because if you don't make that decision based off something you believe in, it's just not going to work out. Imagine watching the Super Bowl and you don't follow football at all. You have no idea who's playing. You don't know what a Tom Brady is. You don't know what a Patriot is, etc. And someone tells you you should bet on this team because Brady's old, Brady's done, Brady's too old, he can't do it anymore. Imagine that, and you know nothing about sports, and then he goes out and then beats the Chiefs on the road. it could be exactly like that. You have to make a decision for yourself that you believe in and that you trust, because otherwise it's just not worth it. You might as well just not do anything at all. I truly, truly, truly believe that. Anyway, guys, this is going to be it for this video. We've got some good ones coming in the near future. I had a lot of technical difficulties with this. I actually just got this mic and I filmed the whole thing and I forgot to turn the mic on. So that was a pretty interesting experience. There was a lot of frustration behind that. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think and I'll see you guys in the next video.